will Anthony Banbury please come forward? Anthony Banbury, we are honored to celebrate your exceptional career as a leader of humanitarian initiatives. Since graduating with your first Tufts degree, a BA in political science in 1986, you have served in troubled regions of the world to provide protection, sustenance, and guidance to vulnerable populations. With a graduate degree from Fletcher, you continued to work to help vulnerable populations, bringing a thoughtful and enterprising approach to getting help to those who need it most. Over the past 20 years, you have served as a United Nations officer at increasingly senior levels. Starting as a protection officer on the Thai-Cambodian border, your career has taken you to the heart of conflicts and natural disasters in the Balkans, in Haiti, Asia, and Africa. In 2003, following 6 years with the US government, you were appointed as the World Food Programme's Regional Director for Asia, where you directed the distribution of critical resources to 24 million individuals in 14 countries. In 2009, you were appointed Assistant United Nations Secretary General for Field Support, where you served until the end of last month. For more than 5 years, you directed resources to sustain peacekeeping and special missions throughout the world, identifying the best ways to provide effective help to desperate situations. At the height of the Ebola crisis in West Africa in 2014, you stepped in to serve as the head of the UN mission for Ebola emergency response. Throughout, you have shown an ability to examine your operations with a thoughtful, analytical, and critical eye. You have called for efforts that make a real impact and have shared these observations with the public in a meaningful and sensitive way. Soon you will be engaged in a new sphere of influence with Vulcan, Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen's initiative, extending your commitment to creating deep and meaningful impacts on many of the challenges facing our world. You truly inspire us. The Tufts University Alumni Association is proud to present a 2016 Distinguished Achievement Award for your leadership in forging humanitarian efforts across the world.
Thank you very much, Steve, for those very kind remarks, and thanks to the whole awards committee for giving me this honor. Thank you also, Kate and President Monaco, for your involvement in this. I'd like to start by just saying how honored I am to be up here today and congratulate my fellow awardees. If you read their biographies, you'll hear more from Steve on them. It's such an impressive group, and I'm really deeply, deeply honored to be part of this distinguished group of alumni. When I got this award, I honestly didn't realize it was such a big deal. It never crossed my mind that even my family would come, much less friends. And I have to give a huge shout out to all my friends from Tufts from my freshman year dorm 30 years ago, Tilton, who are here with me. I'm so glad for their presence, and their presence also keeps me humble because several of them have remarked how surprised they are that I amounted to anything in this life, and that's very good for me to hear that from real friends. We had a chance to meet with President Monaco and Steve, all us awardees, for tea just beforehand, and we were talking about what was it about the Tufts experience that allowed you to go on and did what you did. And I was also in the past day speaking to a couple of groups of Fletcher students and Tufts students and talking about my career and what it was, again, about the Tufts experience. And really 3 things stick out. One is just the great academics. It's just the basic academics, how to be a critical thinker, to really analyze a problem, what's at the heart of the issue, to be a good writer and to be able to communicate. I have used these basic academic skills, which I really developed thanks to Tufts here in Medford, just time and again, and we cannot underestimate the importance of that kind of just very solid academic rigor. And I know, I remember so many classes and so many professors, negotiation classes, and understanding the interests of the other party. I've used those things just throughout my career. The second thing that really, and this came up in our tea a bit, that had such a big impact on me were the values that Tufts imbued in their students and making us active citizens, global citizens, the respect for diversity, the respect for other people's opinions, the importance of understanding where other people are coming from. And for me in the United Nations, traveling all over the world and working in so many different countries and communities, that going in with that respect and willingness to listen and be convinced that you're wrong, I think was so important in my ability to be effective in those very diverse settings. And then the third thing, the last thing, was the open environment of Tufts where you were free to pursue your passions, and we talked about that at the tea. Professors, administration, who just encouraged you, and Groom mentioned it a little bit, who encouraged you to just go for your dreams and pursue your passions, no matter what they were. There were no bounds, there were no constrictions. And that, I think, allowed all of us to grow into the people that we are today and that we want to be. And it was, that combination for me is what made all the difference and what makes, I think, Tufts and Fletcher and the rest of the university so very special. And you see those same attributes across the different schools. When I was head of the UN mission for the Ebola response in 2014, and things were really chaotic, it's when Ebola was at its crisis, no one knew how it was going to end, I went off to a remote community in Liberia, and we met with the people running the Ebola treatment center, and we were trying to figure out what we could do to help, and the community had been very badly impacted by Ebola, and it was a very moving experience. And we were going back to the helicopter, and I was with a group of colleagues, and one of them stopped me and took a picture of me in front of the helicopter, and I was wearing a Tufts t-shirt. And I had a shirt on, I'd taken the shirt off, it was warm, and so I was just there in my Tufts t-shirt. And I should say that's thanks to now my daughter here, Sarah, who's an undergrad at Tufts. So that t-shirt for me symbolizes in a tangible way the intangibles of Tufts, and you take it with you wherever you go. At least I have, and that the school spirit and the everything that it's done for. Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. It's obviously very impactful. It's just been. It's something that I've always carried with me, the Tufts experience, the friends that I've met here, the academics, the values. But of course, values you don't start to develop your values as a freshman in college. And the values come from many different places, but particularly your home. And my parents are here somewhere, and I have to thank them. I don't know why. I always get, my kids know I always cry out like commercials. I'm almost done. I get emotional at silly things, so I'm sorry, I'll really bring it to a close. You can imagine me giving speeches on really emotional subjects, it's terrible. So I want to thank my parents very much for instilling in me the values that I brought into Tufts and from Tufts into my career, and that drove me to make the kinds of decisions I made about the types of jobs I wanted to do, and in those jobs trying to always be values based in my decisions. And very last thanks to my family, Wendy Banbury, who I met here at Tufts and also graduated with me in 1986, and both my daughters and the two sons who can't be here, and it's through their sacrifice and tolerance and support over the course of many, many years that I was able to go on and do these things. So I'm so very grateful for everything that they've done to make this career possible. So thank you very much.